Yesterday, the Islamic Society of Fargo-Moorhead held an event called Meet Your Muslim Neighbor. Good turnout, roughly 400 people attended. So with us tonight is the event's chairman, also a recent graduate up at UND, got his doctorate in English, Mozab Bajaber. Thanks for being here, sir.
Yeah, thank you.
So obviously well-attended event yesterday. Sounded like it went really, really well. And so tonight what I want to do is, again, ask you some more questions, get some more answers out there, continue this dialogue with you. Maybe you can bring some friends next time.
Okay.
Because I know there's fear, obviously. We just talked about some polling going across America. You mentioned the article. You've been feeling a bit threatened. So in your opinion, the most important thing people should know about Islam tonight is what?
Well, that's a religion of 1/5 of the world. It's a religion, as like any other religion, it has its own history, it has its own positives and rough bumps along the way, and that Muslims are just normal people. They got the good guys, the bad guys, and just being human.
So how is it being radicalized? I mean, what's going on that's causing, obviously, and I'm going to use this word because a lot of mainstream media are using it, but causing this cancer to take place in your religion?
By cancer, you mean the radicalizer, like the ISIS, the stuff? Well, I don't know if, like two things here. Number one, when we talk about ISIS, we talk about a war zone that's going on there. And when you talk about war zone, you got all the ugly stuff and nasty stuff going on there. And when you talk about propaganda, we don't underestimate the propaganda, especially if people are, one of their main targets are, Western media, Westerners, and people, they're trying to recruit people. So we should be very careful with the propaganda and that stuff.
So you're saying it's the propaganda from the West that's radicalizing people?
Well, no, the ISIS propaganda. And of course the West has its own propaganda sometimes. You see news and stuff having their propaganda.
Maybe I'm trying to get to the psychosis of this thing, though. So what has people go and read their Quran and then go, you know what, I can go cut this person's head off or rape young women or those things of that nature? What's going on in the context of what they're reading in this book that's not letting them going, yeah, I can do this in the name of Allah?
I don't know. I'm not the person to ask, really. I'm not the person to ask, and I have no idea what's going on in their head. Probably someone needs to do some psychology studies or, like just go into their heads and figure out. I don't know. It seems very dangerous and scary to me as well.
So now your parents are from Saudi Arabia. You've spent some time there, so I want to kind of get some context on your take on. I think what a lot of people are seeing as well is they're concerned about Sharia, really come to the United States. And so I guess my question for you is, are you okay with the secular governance?
Yeah, personally, I'm more towards a liberal understanding of things. So I like to say, like, live and let live. You want to practice your religion, go ahead and do it. You want to live your life the way you want. I mean, everybody is free to do whatever they want, as long as people are respecting each other and being decent and nice. So I'm not. Yeah. So I'm more towards secular, strict separation between state and religion.
And the mosque. Okay. So for example,
Correct.
like if there was an opportunity for you to have maybe Sharia tribunals, United States, would you be for that? Or?
Well, I don't know what the word Sharia is really, to be honest with you. I explained this yesterday. When we talk about Sharia, what is Sharia exactly? In Arabic, Sharia means law or legislation. And there are some. If you look at the Quran, there are some general guidelines on how to do things, but then it's very, very loose. It's open to interpretation, and people can take it all sorts of ways. So the word Sharia, when we talk about Sharia, we have to define what does that mean. If you're talking about like an ISIS understanding of Sharia, or you're talking about a Taliban understanding of Sharia, then
I'm talking about a Saudi Arabia understanding of Sharia.
Or a Saudi Arabian understanding of Sharia. We got lots of issues. Like personally speaking, we got lots of. I think there's a lot of issues that need to be sorted out and clarified, and things are really open to interpretation. You can't just say this is it. I'm speaking on behalf of God,
But I think that's where people are questioning, because most Muslims would say this is the word of Allah. Dot the I's, cross the T's, word of Allah, the Quran. And my understanding is that when he went from Mecca to Medina, that's when it really became more of a law, a political ideology, over than more just a religion. And so they're saying, hey, when we follow this, that does constitute Sharia. Is that semi-accurate? Or?
Well, you're talking about the Quran?
Yeah,
the Quran is it's an old text, so it's a 1,400 years old text. It's written in Old Arabic, and it's very, very, it's open to interpretation. So it depends on who you are and what political background you come from, and a lot of people take it all different sorts of ways.
So should the U.S. Constitution trump Sharia?
Yeah, I mean, I didn't understand the question. You mean?
So should the U.S. Constitution, because many people are concerned that, hey, what's happening now, obviously in light of Europe, is that they're trying to have Sharia now overtake some of the laws that are taking place in the EU. So hold on a second, sir. My question to you is, should the U.S. Constitution trump Sharia?
Yes, absolutely. I mean, if we decide on what kind of Sharia you're talking about, but yes.
So what kind of Sharia?
A secular state. So we're talking about the U.S. should have nothing to do with religion whatsoever, you know. And law, it should be a secular law. People could have their own religion and their own worship places. They should not be, you know, imposed on anyone whatsoever.
And you
is that your question?
I think so, because you just said it depends on the kind of Sharia. So what kind of Sharia should trump the Constitution?
Well, any religion should not be in any state legislation. That's my personal opinion. I don't know about many people, but as I told you, I'm not a scholar in these issues. But this is my personal opinion.
That's why I appreciate you being here, because again, I think people just want to have this conversation. And so one of the things, the Muslim reform movement, we had Azra Nomani on a while back, and she's kind of leading this Muslim reform movement, if you will, saying, hey, we want a secular government. We don't want Sharia to be sort of a political ideology or a law across the U.S. And again, you being from Saudi Arabia, I know they got some tough rights for women. So my question to you is, one of the things this Muslim reform movement is we support equal rights for women, including rights to inheritance, witness, work, mobility, personal law, education, and employment. Do you agree with that?
Yeah, I do.
Okay, good.
Yeah, I think, of course.
So my last question for you then is this, because a lot of people that we have on Facebook or that contact different aspects of this show, they'll go, hey, Chris, you know what this gentleman said tonight I think is fantastic, but they're going to go, but what about taqiyya? Are you familiar with taqiyya?
Yes, I am familiar with taqiyya. I actually did not know.
So can you set the context for people about what that is?
Yeah, okay, I want to talk about that a bit. You know, I actually didn't know about it until someone told me, you know, this is taqiyya, you're just lying. And and I went and and I just read. I was like, what is he talking about? And I read about it because like I'm not a really Islamic scholar of any sort. I mean, I'm an English major, as you know. So I went and I read about it. It's basically there are two things. Number one, it's a Shia concept. So 90% of the Muslim world is a Sunni. So it's a Shia concept of, you know, keeping your head low if things are going so rough, and, you know, not, you know, showing up and, you know, and you know, worshiping in front of people. That's what it means for Shia. But then 90% of people don't believe in that, like Sunnis. They don't believe in that. They think people should be very open about what they have and, you know, live to their standards. So that's number one.
So help me understand.
And then the other thing about taqiyya is, you know, I remember this book. I forgot what it's called, but I remember I read about it in anti-Semitism, and they used to have this book about, you know, these, you know, Jews trying to take over the world, and they have these secret plans, and they're trying to establish this, and it's just like pure propaganda. And this is what's going on with a lot of, you know, the propaganda against Muslims, is that they have their own plans. You know, they're laying low, and you just wait until they eat you, and they're gonna just have a lot of, you know, like once they get the chance, they'll do it. So yeah, I think that's just a stupid argument, really.
All right. Number one, thank you for being here. I think it's very important that we have this conversation.
Thanks.
I hope you'll come back. I hope you maybe bring some friends back, and we can continue having this dialogue. Does that work for you?
Yeah, sure. I will. Yeah,
congratulations on getting your doctorate, by the way.
Thank you.
I think that's pretty awesome.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you so much.
All right, we'd love your thoughts and feedback. Clearly, we've got to do a better job of understanding. So that he and I were talking off the air. I've said this many times on the show. You know, he could basically in the Quran and be like, oh, okay, if he said so, because we don't read Arabic. So we'll continue this dialogue, but first, want to know your thoughts. We're going to come back to some of your points of view right after this. Text us, email us. We'll be right back.